Went full NC with mom after having baby. My mom has never been, let's say, the nicest mom to my brothers and I. My father has been out of the picture for years, he's a convict and can't seem to stay out of trouble. My father's side of the family lives in Mexico, all of which I've never met. And on my mother's side I've only ever met my grandma, who is currently losing a battle to breast cancer. So my mom was all I really had. My mom struggles with pretty bad bipolar depression. She's known for getting physical. No, I don't mean just spanking, being manipulative, and being controlling. She hates not getting her way. When I found out I was pregnant, my husband and I were very excited. My mother was too, but she was a little too excited. She began trying to control everything we would do with our expecting daughter, what she'd wear, her name, what school she would go to, whether she would be breastfed, and worst of all, getting vaccinated. My mom is anti-vax, and she told me that she would not tolerate us vaccinating her because she didn't want a, enter derogatory word, granddaughter. P.S. It sounds like restarted. I told her absolutely not, and my husband and I would not put her health at risk under no circumstances. She did not like that. She said my daughter was her granddaughter and she should decide what's done with her since she's raised kids before. I put my foot down and told her to F off, and I would not be speaking to her until she's gotten therapy and I see that it's working. I blocked her on everything and have not spoken to her in a little over 5 months. My brothers are begging me to let her meet my daughter, but I refuse. Husband is on my side and feels it's in our daughter's best interest to not have my mom in her life. However, I do feel bad sometimes. I know my mom is sick mentally, and going NC and not allowing her to meet my daughter feels a little cruel to me. Is there something else that could possibly work? Edit. Thank you to everyone who's given me advice. I've decided that, although I love my mom and miss her, I love my daughter much more and won't be allowing my mom back into my life. Including supervised visits, until she gets therapy, which may or may not ever happen. Thank you everyone. You did the right thing. If your mother can't control herself, she shouldn't be in contact to you, your husband or your daughter. I would have done the exact same thing. Good luck to you and your family. Thumbs up medium skin tone. Thumbs up medium skin tone. She had her chance. You have nothing to feel guilty about. She could have wound her neck in from day one, but she couldn't. Whether she couldn't because she's malicious or because she's unwell doesn't matter, because this is your daughter's mental health and your ability to be a good parent that's at risk. No matter the reason, she couldn't do it. Protect your daughter. You're doing the right thing. ETA, just because you won't allow her to do her damage, doesn't mean you love her less, or you don't care about her, or you have to be angry with her. You can love your mother whilst being aware that having her in your daughter's life is a bad thing. It doesn't have to come from a place of anger. Don't let anger and guilt eat you up over this. Let yourself love her, but not blindly. Is there something else that could possibly work? I sincerely doubt it. Sometimes the only thing that narcissists understand is strictly enforced boundaries. You can not allow her to meet your child if your mom is not vaccinated, period. You at least have to wait until your child is fully vaccinated. I don't understand why you would want her near your child at all after you've said how controlling and physically abusive she is. Your brothers are pressuring you only so that the heat is taken off of them. You can bet that once you closed the door on your mother's abuse, her eyes turned to your brothers and they are desperately trying to steady the boat and force you back into the role of a boat steadier too, so that your mother stops acting out against them. Don't give in, it will not end well for your family. Sometimes with boundary stompers you can meet up somewhere public with other members of the family. You set the rules beforehand, like if you do this and this, then you will get no contact for 1 month. You also leave if they start, to show that you are serious about boundaries. Eventually they will get it, though it may take a few visits. If you look up how to create boundaries, there might be more advice on RJUSTNOMIL. Being bipolar is no excuse for being a controlling asshole. This isn't about her right to see the grandchild. It's about you keeping your grandchild safe. You have no reason to believe your mom will treat her any differently than she treated you. This is an investment in your daughter's future. Not allowing her to meet my daughter feels a little cruel to me. You need to reframe this. She doesn't have an automatic right to have a relationship with her granddaughter. You aren't being cruel because you aren't responsible for your mother's feelings or her actions. It is up to you to set appropriate boundaries for your own health and for your child's best interest. Based on your mother's choices, she absolutely should not have a relationship with your granddaughter. She poses a threat to your baby. If she got some treatment, it is possible that the threat would be much less. It is her choice. You know what your mom put and your siblings through growing, why wouldn't she do the same to your low because your mom knows best? No, NC was the way to go for the well-being of your precious low. Your mom needs therapy and possibly medication to help with her mental condition. One session and one pill isn't going to cure her, no matter what she says. Your siblings are probably carrying the burden of your mom now, which is why they want you back in the picture. They would get your mom off their back and focused on you plus low. This could be very dangerous for low so stay NC. I've been going through the same situation my son is 8 mo. I gave in 2 weeks ago and let her hold him. But I did it on my terms, I went to her home and left when I had had enough. I don't plan on it being a regular thing, she is still as toxic as fuck, but I did it because I'm more compassionate and mature than she will ever be. Good luck with whatever you decide. XO. You didn't just go NC, you gave her a choice. She can go to counseling and actually help herself if her granddaughter is that important to her. You are not responsible for her choice. Next time your brothers bring it up, tell them to beg her to get counseling. If you subject your child to someone you know to be abusive and cruel, you would be the bad mother. Do what your mother never did and prioritize the well-being of your daughter. Why would you reward her behavior simply because it's the easier thing to do? You say you know she's mentally ill. Whether or not that makes her culpable for her behavior, it totally does. By the way, it then becomes your responsibility to keep your daughter away from the same narcissistic bullshit you had to endure. My best friend dealt with this, only it was the mill. I hope she changes, but you have to do what's best for you and your baby. Mother sounds very toxic. Stay strong in whatever you decide, and stay firm on boundaries, Don't let her guilt you into anything. She lived her life. Don't let her live yours. The last thing you want is for your mom to hurt your daughter, be it through anti-vax, hitting her, scaring her, she's sick but she's doing nothing to change or help herself. You're doing the best thing for you and your family. She has zero say in what you do. Stay strong. Ignore your brothers, they have your mother's wants at heart and not you or your daughter's well-being. If you do want your ma'am to see your daughter, you could try contact centers and supervised visits. If you don't want that, just keep no contact with her, but it's up to you and your husband, not anyone else. I am bipolar and am kind of a control freak sometimes. But I don't think I could act that way with my children, grandchildren. My oldest is only 6 right now though lol. Is she medicated? Does she go through a lot of episodes? Try approaching her when she's in a normal state and have a conversation with her. I sometimes have to write down my thoughts and feelings on things when I'm normal so that I can look back on them when I'm in an episode and realize from my own words why I am out of line. Honestly, you'd have been a gigantic boss if you involved that toxicity in your child's life. So good on you for cutting her off. Now you'll have a less toxic group of people in your life. Maybe the desire to meet your daughter and have a relationship with her might lead her to get her BP disorder under control? Blunt truth, if your mother even cared a little, she would be in therapy. She's not, so she doesn't. If you let her back in, you're putting your daughter in danger. Before opening up personal contact between your kid and mother, I'd look into the way grandparents' rights work where you live. My understanding is that in some places, the bond between grandchild and grandparent is what a judge considers when determining grandparent visitation rights. It could end up being a lot harder, even impossible, to close the door of contact one day if you need to for your kid's well-being. Not the asshole, but if you want to allow her to meet your daughter without putting her at risk, there are ways to do that. You can start with just the most limited of contact. Like, having lunch once in a while. With all of you there. And if she does X, you will go back to no contact. If she behaves for say, a couple of months, you can go one step closer, maybe spending a bit more time together, or letting her hold your daughter with you there. If she does X, you will go back a step. Just be super firm when it comes to boundaries. I don't think there are any other options when she is like that. I am sorry that your mother is that restarted. Please protect your daughter from your abusive mother. Your mom clearly isn't willing to respect you as a parent and would at least try to run roughshod over you if given the chance. Keeping her away from your kid is a gift to the kid. My mom didn't keep her abusive parents away from me and my siblings, and I'm still working through that at 30. I'm doing well, but my childhood and teenage years sucked, and I don't want that for your child. Don't feel bad. It is natural that you do, but try not to. You are absolutely doing what is best for you, your husband, and your daughter. You have a child now and she comes first before anyone else. You did the right thing. You'll probably be better off without her. If you feel like it, you can certainly begin to attend family functions where you feel there's plenty of support should she begin to act up. You can dictate any provisions you like, ahead of time. For example, there will be absolutely no discussion of our choices for the baby. If you want to purely enjoy baby's company from time to time, you will have to follow our wishes. If it appears you cannot do that without interrogations and advice for us, we'll terminate the visit and try again next year. Lol. But seriously. You've done the right thing. And yes, you feel shitty. That's mom's fault, not yours. Boundaries are uncomfortable and sticking to them takes courage. Reiterate with the whole fam that mom is welcome after she has sought and improved from treatment. She is my granddaughter does not supersede that she is your daughter. You get to choose what will and won't be allowed with your child. As far as she's raised children, I only have to say this: would you allow a mechanic from the 80s to work on your 2021 BMW? No, as they would have no clue about the computers, cars with no catalytic converter or even fuel injectors. Good for you that you've worked on cars before, but you have no clue about all the changes and haven't read up on it. Yes, wait until your daughter is older, like preteen. Then let her decide if she wants to meet grandma. Until then, or until she demonstrates she is getting treatment and it's working, she is actually a danger to your daughter and yourselves. Give her an inch and she'll take a mile. No way in heck would I allow any mentally unstable, totally controlling person into my life regardless of who they are. Protecting you child is of paramount importance as a parent. If you allow her to see the child, that opens the door to all sorts of things. You absolutely did the right thing. You absolutely did the right thing. Until she is willing to get help for her mental health, she probably hasn't changed. My mother is bipolar and also an alcoholic in recovery. She got her shit together when about 3 years ago. My oldest is almost 7 and she had very little contact until that happened. She is in therapy, going to AA meetings, and medicated for her illness. There is no shame in having a mental illness, but there are certainly problems when people don't assume responsibility in managing symptoms through whatever means necessary. Quick question to anyone. What does NC mean? What is NC? You are totally correct by not having contact with your mother. Some people are toxic, even mothers. And thank you for not saying the derogatory word that rhymes with restarted. I have an intellectually disabled son and that word is still thrown around way too much. Baby should have no CONOT the asshole CT with grandma until the girl gets her COVID shot. Little ones under 5 are at a higher risk of death and serious injury from COVID-19. She had a chance with her own daughter and failed. You're protecting yours, which is more than she ever did for you and your siblings. You're doing the right thing. If your mom is mentally ill, you should definitely not put your daughter at risk with her. It is your daughter and your mom has no say unless you allow it. The only thing I would suggest is limited 2 hours and she leaves, supervised visits you there, and strict boundaries, as in your mom has no say on anything in regards to your daughter. Don't let anyone guilt you into doing what you do not want to do. This is not by any means the main point, but did she vaccinate you? Does she now consider you to have turned out, developmentally delayed? If you wanted to give a slight chance, I think starting out with video chats are a great idea. My mother is a terrible drunk. She claims, it's my life, I choose what I want to do. Fine. My low is almost a year and both times I brought him to her she was horribly drunk. She couldn't wait until after spending time with him to drink. So I only do video chat now. It gives her the satisfaction of seeing him and gives me peace knowing she won't be handling him intoxicated. We also say we can't physically bring him because of COVID. That has been a good excuse for me, haha. Remember. If she tells you she has started therapy, whether she does or not, if you give her access to your child, no matter how limited, in some parts of the US she will be able to claim grandparents' rights and gain unsupervised access to your child thereafter. If you want to give her a peek into your life without actually getting in touch, you could write her a letter and invite her to reply in the same fashion. Let her know how your daughter is doing and include a photo. Then tell her there are some rules to interacting with you from now on, and those include not trying to live your life for you, not flooding you with letters, etc. Advise her that future letters from her are going straight to the trash, unopened, if she oversteps your boundaries. Not sure if this means much coming from a complete stranger, but I'm proud of you. One of the hardest things I had to do was let go of my toxic mom. I wish I had done it at your age instead of waiting till I was in my late 40s. It would have saved my daughters a lot of pain. Man, do not let your mom destroy your life and the life you created. Family member and parents in particular are often being socially overrated, as if you had to suffer from their toxicity just cause they re your parents. Just flop her if she's acting up badly. It's not cruel. I know it feels that way, but it is not. Your job is to protect your child, and if it's from your mother, so be it. I can imagine that it hurts a lot, but you're doing the right thing. Teach your child to trust her instincts and to know what she is comfortable with or not, and let her decide one day, but for now, you're her mom. Why would you let your baby around a physically abusive person in the first place? She has an out. She can go to therapy and address her problems, and you'll let her see her granddaughter. That's not a big ask and is for your mom's benefit as much as it is anyone else's. That being said, I believe therapy is both great and terrible at the same time. If you're an introspective person, it can be a real growth experience. If you aren't, it sounds like your mom isn't, it's a waste of time. That doesn't excuse her from making the effort though. You have responsibilities for your daughter, not for your mother.